Well, good morning, everybody. Grace and peace to you from our Lord Jesus Christ and all the saints here in the data center, which would be me right now. Um, First of all, good morning. If you don't know, I do these off the cuff. It's not scripted. I don't write anything down ahead of time. This is all just off the top of my head. So what was I going to say? All right, so the last video, the fiber flapping, just first want to say I really appreciate all the helpful suggestions I got from you guys. I do appreciate that. I'm not the end all be all on network admin. I'm just some old guy that's self-taught and has learned a thing or two over the years. But I'm not too proud to say I can't learn more. So I really appreciate the suggestions you guys toss out, and keep them coming. So this is going to be a pretty big week. Um, by the time you guys are watching this video, we will be doing the work that I'm about to describe here. And I described it a couple of months ago in a video, but I'll just update you guys. We're going to be doing some work to change some routing and try to simplify our network a little bit. So right now we have, let's get this open here. We have 4 core switches. Core switch 1 is right here. Core switch 2 is right here. And there's 2 more down in the basement over in the main hospital, which is over there and down. So it's a couple buildings over and it's down in the basement. That's where the other 2 cores are. Right now we got VRRP set up across all 4 of those. And what we're going to basically do is collapse VRRP down to just core switch 1 and core switch 3, which is over there in the basement, the other building. Core switch 2 here and core switch 4 that are over in the other building, those will strictly be layer 2. So we're going to remove the layer 3 interfaces off all the VLANs on that switch. So we'll basically have VRRP just running across 2 cores. The other thing we're going to do is some of our layer 3 interfaces run on this switch, which is our WAN switch. It's kind of confusing to me, old guy that I am, to remember where the layer 3 interfaces are. Is it here? Is it in core switch 1? Is it in WAN switch? Is it in the WAN switch? Or is it in the firewall? We've got some layer 3 interfaces on the firewall. So where is it? And so we're working with Extreme this week, and not Palo Alto Networks. We're working with Burwood. Burwood's contractor. What am I trying to say? I can't think of the name. Anyway, they're a contractor, and they do work with us on all kinds of things, everything from Active Directory to networking to Palo Alto. And they're working with us on the Palo Alto end of this project. So one of the problems we have is with all of this stuff. This is Cerner. It's all of our front end to Cerner. And I know there's one guy out there that's going to understand what I'm talking about. I think his name is Night Jockey. Is I saying that right? Night Jockey? I don't know. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your YouTube username, but the way we get to Cerner right now is we have what's called a V-wire through the Palo Alto. And a V-wire is a virtual wire. It's literally just, to the network it looks like a straight through wire. But it goes through the Palo Alto and goes through all the engines that look for malware and viruses and all that good stuff. So the devices don't even know that they're going through a firewall. The traffic doesn't know it's going through a firewall. So you have a switch here, you have a switch here, and a V-wire in between them where the Palo Alto is. And these 2 switches don't know that there's a device in between them. Okay, that's the V-wire. What we are finding is it doesn't work so well with Cerner. So what we are going to do is get rid of the V-wire off of that guy, and we're going to replace it with a layer 3 interface. So right now we have a Cerner transit network that we go through to get to Cerner. We're going to take the layer 3 interface of that VLAN and move it from the core switch directly to the firewall. And so what that'll do is basically we'll be able to get rid of the V-wire. So that's the other big thing we're going to do this weekend. And there's a third. What is the third? Well, we're going to do that for two other things also. We have something called the HCIN, Healthcare Interpreter Network. We're going to move that layer 3 off of the WAN switch to the core. And then one other thing, we got a router that goes to UC Davis that is the same thing. It goes through the other V-wire. We're going to move that layer 3 from the core to Palo Alto. So we got two layer 3 interfaces we're going to move from the core to the Palo Alto. One layer 3 interface we're going to move from the WAN switch to the core switch. So, sound confusing? Yeah, it is. Which is why we're having contractors do it, because this brain, I mean, I understand what they're doing, but to come up with all of it and make sure it all works right, it would be far too stressful for me. I could probably do it, especially with Amon's help, my boss, Amon. Remember the pretty lady I worked for? She, between the two of us, we could probably do it. We just don't want to. We want to make sure it's done right and done per extreme specifications. So that's what we're doing this weekend. So one of the things we need to do, let me pick you up and move you over here so you can see what I'm talking about. Sorry, hope you're not getting motion sick. So these 4 wires coming out of this Palo Alto firewall here, these are basically the 2 V wires. So this one's for Cerner, this one's for UC Davis. And basically we come off a copper switch into here. This port up here, port 1, and then port 2, we come out and we go into the Cerner switch up here. And basically same thing. We come out of the copper switch, which is, way down there. You can't see it, but come out of that copper switch. It's a top of rack switch in the bottom of the rack. Come out of that copper switch, come in here, go out here, and then we go to the UC Davis router. That's all fine and good, but except when we move the layer 3 interfaces over, sorry for the photography there, it's not going to work. So what we're going to have to do is add some interfaces. And what we're going to do is basically we're going to plug an interface here on the WAN switch. We're going to set up an interface and we're going to plug that into Cerner. So layer 3 will be here, and then everything else all through my network to get to Cerner will be layer 2. So to do that, we either have to come copper off of the top of rack switch down there, or copper off the core. But we've decided to come copper off the WAN switch because that's where the fiber connections for our firewall come from. They come off the WAN switch. And we've basically got this firewall here. It's got a LACP connection consisting of 2 fiber pairs. So they're trunked together. So that's firewall. 1 fiber pair goes into this WAN switch up here. And this firewall, 1 pair goes into the WAN switch down in the basement. Vice versa, the firewall down there, 1 fiber pair goes into the WAN switch in the basement, 1 fiber pair comes up here to this WAN switch. So both firewalls will always have a connection somewhere, somehow, some way, depending on what goes down. So we're gonna stick with the whole WAN switch being the connection deal. And what I have to do is add some copper GBICs to the WAN switch. GBICs, gigabit interface coupler, am I right? You'll correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. I just call them GBICs. People call them all kinds of different things. So we're going to add some GBICs up here to this WAN switch, and we're going to add some GBICs to the WAN switch over there in the basement. We decided to stick with this and not go to the copper switch because, like I said, this is where everything is already. So it's just easier to keep track of. And yeah. So what I have here, hang on, I'll be right back. Well, you can still hear me. I'm going to grab this box. You know, a lot of GBICs people think it's fiber, and they're not always fiber. We do have copper GBICs. We use quite a bit of them in here, as a matter of fact. So here, I know you guys like show and tell. So this here, that is a copper GBIC. So it's copper on this side, and then this plugs into the square SFP ports up there on the switch. So yep, that's what a GBIC looks like. You guys that are studying, you hear these terms and you don't know what it's called, you don't know what it looks like. So yeah, so these two little yellow things here are basically what you pull on to pull it out. So they lift up and then it disengages a little catch right here on the top. Makes it so you can pull it out. So anyway, that's a GBIC. And basically what we do is we just come over here. Sorry, extreme close up. You know, we locate a port, pull the little dust cap off, and are you going to be able to see this? I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. Just inserts in there. Just inserts in there like what? Like this. There we go. Upside down on the top. So I'm assuming you saw this. There we go. Now you can see it. So that'd be the new one right there. I'm actually going to put them over here next to these two. These are copper GBICs that are already in there. So we've already got an array of them. So we've got a mixture of fiber, copper, single mode, multi-mode. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's what I'm going to be doing this morning is, sorry. There we go. I'm going to be selecting the ports for this thing. You know, which ones do we want to use? And I'm going to send that back to the contractor and tell them, hey, we're going to use ports. What ports are we going to use? It's like 35, 36, and 37 for the ports we're going to use. So, yeah, all right. So that's the big doings this weekend. Some routing changes and getting rid of the V-wire. And theoretically, when we're done with the work this Sunday, by the time many of you watch this video, it'll already be done. But theoretically, when we're done with the work this weekend, we should have a lot simpler network and a lot more stabler network. More stabler. I want the most stablest. If you remember, one of the problems we're having is when we fail over these firewalls, we lose connection to Cerner because the V-wire is just, it's not, our switching network isn't keeping up with it. It's not passing the traffic correctly. So that's why we want to move Cerner over to a layer 3 interface on the firewalls, because when we fail over, we don't have any problems with the firewalls at all. Internet traffic, VPNs, everything stays up. So all the layer 3 only stuff stays up. It's just the V-wires that just don't work properly. And yeah, that problem's been tracked down to our switching network. It's just not working. So yeah, that's what we got going on this weekend. So I could use your prayers. Extreme Networks and Burwood could use your prayers because they're going to be doing the actual work. Amon and I are just going to be doing the testing. So yeah, that's a situation for this week. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, click the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell if you so desire. And I just want to say, it's now that we're at the end of the film, and most of the atheists have already filmed the end of the video, and all the atheists have probably already turned off. that I really appreciate hearing from all you Christian brothers and sisters out there. You know, I personally didn't know there were so many out there. When I started sharing my faith on this, I thought, oh, nobody's going to listen. No, nobody's going to watch these videos anyway. And then I get so many comments from you guys and say, oh, it's so good to see another Christian brother out there in the IT industry. Yeah, we're out here. You know, a lot of us we don't talk about it, and the reason we don't talk about it too much is because a lot of the comments I get. You know, I get a lot of these. You know, I watched your video until you mentioned God. Not tough. Don't watch it. I don't care. God. Yeah, God, Jesus is my king, and always has been, and always will be. From the time as long as I can remember, the little kid. So, yeah, we're always going to talk about faith. If you have any prayer requests, put them in the comments. If anybody says anything bad about it, I'll delete those. I already delete most of the, oh, you're an idiot, all the unhelpful comments. Guys, don't even bother, because I just delete them. I don't want any negativity on my channel. If you don't like the video, don't watch it. There's no need to tell me you didn't like it. It's enough that you know you didn't like it. So, anyhow, all right. That's enough of that. So, as always, give God the glory. Soli Deo Gloria. To God alone be the glory. And, you know, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. All right, guys. We'll catch you later. God bless.